Welcome to the 2007 Folio Awards. I'm Ernie Shimizi.
And I'm Jackie Clement, Executive Director of the Fair Media Council.
Jackie, 20 years of the Fair Media Council. This organization does very important work. I was trying to come up with a way of describing it to those people who don't know what the Fair Media Council is all about. And I came across with the consumer, it's like the consumer union of broadcast television.
You could kind of call us that. What we do is we work to advocate for quality local news because, as you know, everybody's always complaining about something on the news and why it was on and how it's done and that sort of thing. So we do lobby to make sure that we have quality local news so that people in the community are getting the news and information they need to live better lives and to run their businesses successfully. But we also educate people about the news, and that's something nobody else does.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned the news and all media that covers the news. Includes television, of course, which we're part of.
Radio, newspapers, the internet, podcasts, and whatever else they'll invent tomorrow. So
now, you've always said you want to create an educated consumer viewer.
Right. Exactly. We call it a media-savvy public because there's a lot of news coming into your home that you really don't see it or hear it, or you can touch it really unless it's a newspaper, and you have the airwaves coming in at you all the time and you don't really pay attention to the information that it's feeding you, and it's shaping your views and creating an outlook for you. And maybe if you were more conscious of it, you would be more skeptical of the information you're receiving.
Well, it's advocacy for the viewers, for the community.
Yes, exactly.
This is a party, this is a celebration.
Yes.
In which we reward those who have been deemed to be...
Well, actually, what's most interesting about the Folio Awards is we have panels of judges and they're community members who choose the winning entries. So what today is all about is it's the public that has judged the local news, and the winners here today are the best according to the viewers, the watchers, the readers, the people who are ultimately the most important judges of the media.
So what have we got in store for our viewers today?
Well, okay, we have... Co-hosting today's event will be Ernie Anastas and Rosanna Scotto, the Fox 5 anchor team, and we never know what's going to happen when those two are together. And keynoting today, we're very excited to have with us CBS News, The Early Show, Harry Smith, who's a great guy. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
So stay tuned. You're watching the Folio Awards on WVVH. This is our, I think, 6th year of covering this with you, and thank you, Jackie, for all the work you do.
Oh, thank you. We're happy you could be here with us. Ernie, I'd like to introduce you to Bob Gianallo. He is chairman of my board of directors of the Fair Media Council.
What a great day, isn't it?
It's another great year, and good to see you, Ernie. Good to see Jackie again, and we're looking forward to it. This is an exciting time. It seems like we say that every year, though, right? It's an exciting time to be at this place, and it's a great day, good turnout, and the rain's not keeping anybody away.
Any indication, every year it gets bigger and bigger. We have about 10 cameras now set up to record the event. This has become the must event for the season here in Long Island.
I think you're right. And each of the 10 cameras gets Jackie on her best side. Did you know that every year? So good. It is the right place to be, I think, and there's a certain uniqueness.
That's why we keep him around.
There's a uniqueness, I think, to the organization and to the message, don't you think? And it's not something that resonates elsewhere, but we're trying to tell the story about media education, media accountability. I think this is a good time and the right place to be.
Well, you both must be thrilled, and you must be thrilled with the great work this lady is doing for the organization.
It gets better every year. That the issues are really important, and Jackie's the right person for the job, and she's talking to Long Island leadership, the nonprofits, the businesses, the academics. And she brings the message out appropriately to each of these very disparate groups, and so full speed ahead.
Well, Jackie, you've always said we have to question what we watch, what we read, what we hear. Don't take it at face value, and that's what this great organization does.
Right.
I think, yeah, you're right. Good, you can take it.
Yeah, you want me to do that one?
Sure.
Okay. Well, one of the key things to remember is with the information you're receiving, there's a lot of information you're not receiving. So you always have to question what is it you're not reading and what is it you're not seeing. Because oftentimes that's the most important part of the story.
Well, if this is any indication, with the top people from all of the media in New York City and Long Island being here, great job and continued success for years and years to come. N.J. Burkett, you know, I was looking at the resumes of different people who were part of this event, and what a stellar career you are having. Peabody Award winner, Emmy. I mean, you've gone through the gamut here of really distinguishing yourself in this profession. Hats off to you. Now, NJ
Thanks.
does not stand for New Jersey, does it?
Oh, no. In fact, when I was a Long Island correspondent, there was a real move at the station to have me change my initials to LI, which I refused to do. But no, I was a Long Island correspondent from 1990 until 1997. So it was 7 years. And have not been back here to this function in 10 years, in the 10 years since I left Long Island as a correspondent. So it's really exciting to be here.
Well, this is an organization that honors quality reporting in all media.
Right.
And in your work, I come to the 9/11 coverage that you did that particular day, which I believe you were cited for a Peabody Award, your whole team. That was amazing.
Right, and it's, you know, to this day, and I'm sure for the rest of my life, I mean, it'd be very difficult to talk about because you can't talk about that day and you can't think about that day without thinking about the people who did not survive that day. Very difficult. I mean, where we were when the buildings came down, there were a lot of other people who did not get away from the falling debris in time, and you know, I think a day doesn't go by that I don't think about them, and I don't think about, you know, their families. You know, I think about that stuff all the time, and it certainly informs your coverage of what happened on 9/11, and it also, I mean, you have to have it mean something to you and make you a better and stronger and more sensitive reporter. I hope it's done that.
Absolutely. We're so proud of what you've done, your accomplishment, where you're going with your career. And for New York to have a reporter like you on the beat out there, but you also travel to other parts of the world. So
Right. Well, that's what I enjoy about the job is that, you know, if I'm not covering, you know, the Intifada in Israel or the war with Hezbollah or the war in Iraq or terror attacks in London or Madrid, you know, I'm covering news in the largest metropolitan area in America and some of the most important and most fascinating stories in America. So it's really been a great job. It's been a great run. And it began here. I mean, this was really where it began for me. I did a year as a general assignment reporter from 1989 until 1990 in New York. And then after that, I was asked to be the Long Island correspondent. They said, you know, just do it for a little while until we can find someone to take that job. And then I stayed for 7 years, and I look back on it, and I have a lot of very fond memories.
Great. Well, Long Island is proud of you. Thanks for coming back for this great event. We have a number of top executives in the room, and this fellow here runs CBS News, and we're so thrilled that you're here with us, Peter Dunn. This organization, the Folio Awards, honors the best in reporting of all media, and CBS, for some reason, has a very strong Long Island bureau, and you guys keep picking up these Folio Awards over the years.
Well, we hope we do, because it means a lot to us, this part of the area. I personally grew up in Long Island, so I hope that helps. And I think we have great reporters here from Long Island. And this is only my second year being here, because I've only been at Channel 2 for about a year and a half. But I'm thrilled to be here. It's great. I wish the weather was better, though.
What is the greatest commitment for you to try to be the great station which CBS is, to cover this vast area that's part of your responsibilities?
Well, Long Island, to me, if you separated Long Island from the New York marketplace, that's as bigger than most markets around the country. So it should have this kind of focus.
It should.
Definitely.
Well, we're so thrilled that you're here. Your commitment to this organization, the Folio Awards, thank you for being part of it, and continued success. Anything new happening at CBS that we should be aware of?
Nothing.
I know you're going to be
going great.
I know on the East End you're going to be at the Hampton Classic again.
Yes, and I'll see you then.
Here on Long Island, the name of this gentleman is known and respected, Ed Lowe. I don't know if it is in other parts of the country, but here on Long Island it surely is. What a great resume you have, Ed. What a great accomplishment of writing. This event, the Folio, honors the best in media and accuracy in media. What does this organization mean to you?
Well, accuracy is what's important to me, because so much of what we do in these trades, in this craft, of late has been either sloppy or inaccurate. So if you want to encourage clear writing and and accurate reporting, then you have to take some time out and congratulate the people who practice it that way. I think this is pretty important stuff. I mean, there's a little, glamour to this, especially when you get into the electronic media and, people are who they are because they're pretty, but some of these people are extraordinary professionals at gathering information, especially information that the people who have it don't want you to have. That's important. Me, I'm just a storyteller.
Well, your comments and what is your biggest concern? Because you're right, this is a glamorous event, but what worries you about the direction that media is going here in general?
Well, it's a societal thing. It's a laziness because good reporting requires effort. Going back and asking another question, checking another document, probing somebody who doesn't want his motives or her motives probed. And what we've become in recent decades is sloppy and lazy.
Thank you, Ed Lowe, for adding to the nobility of this profession we call reporting, and continued great work.
Thank you very much. It's great to see you.
Well, NBC is in the house. We're represented by Jorge Ramos of Telemundo.
Yes.
And co-anchor of the WNBC Evening News.
David Oshry. Yeah.
Yes, David.
David Oshry, yeah. We're delighted to be here.
Well, we're
this
so
is a
thrilled
great
that
event.
both of you are here. This is a great event. And this event, believe it or not, was established 20 years ago to honor the best in local reporting. And you guys really epitomize that. I've been reading your resume. You started in Hartford, Connecticut.
I did. Yeah, I started in Hartford, first in newspapers and then in a television station there. And then spent 10 years at another station here in New York. I forget the call letters. Reporting, and then I've been anchoring and reporting at WNBC. And
it's a major commitment, isn't it, to bring the news and to cover all that happens. It's no longer local. The whole world is local, isn't
Absolutely, absolutely. And now Telemundo 47, very important, with the Hispanic community. That Hispanic community is growing, at large numbers in the tri-state area. I have been anchoring the news for 26 years with Telemundo 47.
And he's only 28, which is amazing. And he looks 28. You know what I mean? It's just, the guy has, no, seriously, the guy's a legend in the community, and he is not aged. And I'm like, what makeup is it? What fruit juice is it? I'm serious. Jorge Ramos looks the same as he did 26 years ago, was it? What did you say, 26 years ago? I'm not kidding. I'm almost angry about it, is what I'm saying.
At the end of the newscast, there is a refrigerator, so I go inside for a couple of hours, and that's what it is.
I'm serious.
See, you learn something every day, but you guys are doing such a great job, and you're right on top. What a history you've had. I know you've worked for ABC. Yes. You're at CBS.
Right.
Now you're at Fox 5.
I forgot one.
And
I was at NBC also for
you were at NBC
for 6 years.
Also.
Sure.
My God, can't you hold a job, man?
Exactly. Well, I never looked for another job. That's the funny part about it. My boss just said, "Hey, it's time to go across the street," and we went. So.
Well, I think it's because you do your job very well. And now, Fox 5 and My 9, what a powerhouse those two stations have become. And we're very proud of what you've accomplished. But most importantly, you've got a major responsibility on your shoulders because you have to be the two stations that cover this great area of Long Island as well as New York City and New Jersey. Major commitment, isn't it?
It absolutely is a major commitment. And it's actually one of the few duopolies that Fox owns that is not co-located. In other words, we're not in the same building. Channel 9 has its own plant, if you will, in Secaucus. Channel 5 has the operation in Upper Manhattan. And it makes it difficult because employees are separate, and we do share resources to a certain extent, but it's two different operations. And Channel 9 actually has a responsibility to cover New Jersey news in a greater way than we are required to at Channel 5. So it's more Channel 9 is more Jersey focused, although a lot of the viewership is in the 5 boroughs. We certainly don't ignore it, and witnessed by the fact of all the good stories we do on Long Island, especially our investigative pieces that Barbara Nevins-Taylor does on the island.
Yes.
So we have good connections here as well.
Where do you see it going? You've seen it from the beginning when, not too long ago when reporting was a certain way. Now with the advent of internet broadcast and webcast and helicopters, the potential has gotten so great. It's a nonstop commitment of resources, isn't it?
Absolutely, and my great fear is that we all, because of that, because of consolidation, because of competition, that we don't continue our commitment. But I think we will. It's a very expensive proposition. I think the internet lacks certainly in local news coverage, especially local news video coverage. People on the internet tend to get one source. A lot of it is AP driven. People go to Yahoo or Google and see news. It's from the AP. It's really one source. There's not a great diversity of news gathering. I think local news is extremely important to people. Yet it is expensive to cover.
We love coming out here. And this is an annual event that we all look forward to because we get to see you and your brother Greg and all of our old friends from the broadcasting industry, which is great.
It is a fun day. I wish it was a little nicer outside today, but what the heck, it's sunny inside here.
But you guys have been celebrating this 40 years of...
He's been on the air 40 years. He looks good,
not
right?
that you were there
How
day
old,
one.
60th birthday. She's having a birthday right now. I'm going to tell you something. It's tomorrow. Well, I'm not kidding.
I mean, we've been looking
62.
at those old tapes there. That's amazing. That's amazing.
A lot of work since then.
This is going to be a great day, and that you're here with us at the Folio Awards as our co-host. What a great honor. You guys are at the top of what you're doing. It doesn't hurt to have a lead-in of American Idol either.
Listen, it's not just about the lead-ins. People like to watch Ernie and I.
I phone in. I always phone, the
You
internet.
do?
It's you, right? Yeah, it's your call every
You
night.
ever see Ernie from Brooklyn? That's me.
I love it.
No, but you know what? It really is fun because, all of us who share in this wonderful industry of broadcasting know that there is a camaraderie with all of the people because many times we've worked together elsewhere and then we work together again. And
Especially you.
Yeah. And this awards presentation is very special. And Roseanne and I are happy to be hosting it today. And we have a couple of little funny things up our sleeve.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have some fun today.
We are.
Stay tuned.
Stay
We'll
tuned.
be having our presentation in a moment. And what great people you both are.
Thank you so much for inviting
to
us.
you and
We
your
love
wonderful channel, too, by the way.
Thank
you
you
guys
so
are
much.
doing really great.
Thank you so
You
much.
are everywhere. Congratulations.
Well, we're not 40 years, but we're getting there.
All
You
right.
sure are.
Someday.
Many more.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to see
you.
you. Right.
Thank
A quote of yours which really sticks in my mind is that when you report, you speak to your audience. You report as if people are meeting you for the first time.
Absolutely.
And it's a very fresh way of looking at bringing your sensibilities to a story.
I think it's important to remember that whoever is tuning in that night, you can always kind of think about it as, well, it's the usual folks. I can just kind of phone this one in. My philosophy that I try to approach every night doing stories as an anchor, as a reporter, whatever it is I always picture this person out there who's never watched before. And maybe they bent over to get a potato chip or something like that, and the camera and the channel is on channel 11 for that 1 minute, for the 30 seconds, for the first time in their lives. Well, maybe I'm reading a story, maybe I'm doing something in that moment that makes them stop and say, okay, that was pretty good, let's give it another minute here. And then maybe they'll switch back over again the next night. Let's face it, the name of the game is trying to get as many people to watch as you possibly can. So if I have to get them one at a time, that's my philosophy.
Well, when you started in this business, now you've reached the heights of being an anchor here in the New York market. Mm-hmm. But when you started, was that part of your focus from the moment you took on the responsibility of being a reporter?
Absolutely. In fact, the first station I worked for was in Kingsport, Tennessee in the late 70s, making, I think my salary was like $9,000 a year. But ever since from the very, and had a very small audience. It was the smallest station in Kingsport, Tennessee. But I always had a very strong kind of self-consciousness almost about, somebody's going to be watching this. And if it was one person, I really didn't want that one person to be saying, this guy's a clown, this is a silly story, I don't understand what's going on. So I've always tried to be very meticulous about making sure the stories are clear and understandable and that they mean something to the people who are watching, whether it's in Kingsport, Tennessee, or whether it's in Manhattan. And, so far it's worked out, so far.
Thank you for joining us. The Folio Awards would not be the Folio Awards without your being here. We appreciate your honoring Long Island and continued success.
Well, it's always a pleasure to come out here. you know, the organization here has been so instrumental over the years in winning coverage for Long Island. They really changed the way the game is played out here, and we all understand that, and we all, you know, try to cover Long Island as much as we possibly can, and we respect this audience out here, and we're glad to be here today to celebrate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we're joined by two gentlemen, and I do use that term loosely. No.
Thank you. So you should.
Vern Gay and Ellis Hennigan of Newsday. And welcome, guys. You know,
Thank you.
Newsday is the preeminent Long Island newspaper, and we're thrilled that you're here to join us on this very special day, the Folio Awards. What does Long Island reporting mean to you as someone who's been an integral part of reporting the Long Island beat, Vern?
Well, what it exactly means is it's part of covering a vital part of the nation and vital part of the area economy, a growing area with a lot of challenges and a lot of things that are changing here all the time. And Newsday's role basically has been for 60 years to cover that as closely and aggressively as possible, and that's what we're doing now, and that's what reporting means to me on Long Island.
And Ellis, how has Newsday changed to just meet the needs here on Long Island? Just population-wise, things have expanded tremendously over those 60 years.
That's right. We've chronicled that growth throughout those 60 years, and now are facing all kinds of new challenges the same way the island is. How do we deliver that news? What role does the internet play? What is an ink on paper, newspaper? What is its role going forward? We have a bunch of creative ideas about that, and we're finding a way to ride this thing into the future the same way the island is.
Well, Newsday continues to attract the best and the brightest of people who want to go into reporting.
That only counts for Vern, though.
Well, that's Vern?
I don't qualify for that. So.
Vern, how long have you been with Newsday, incidentally?
19 years.
19 years. So you've seen, over those 19 years of covering this area, this beat, what sticks out in terms of your memory of...
What doesn't stick out? I mean, I think Ellis hit on it. The greatest change right now is what we're sort of going through. The change that's going through in the paper itself and in the industry itself, which is the digital revolution. Of course, it's profoundly affecting this paper, as it is all papers in the country. But Newsday, I think, is dealing with it well, and we're meeting it head on. That's really what sticks in my mind most right now. We're a changing paper in a changing economy and a changing world.
Nobody knows where this technology is going, but I'll guarantee you one thing. People will still need to know what's going on in the world. We don't know what technology we're going to deliver to them, but those stories are going to be more important than ever, more complicated, and more integral to people running their lives effectively. And we're going to tell those stories by whatever means necessary.
Today we honor local television and the best in local media of all sorts here on Long Island. And this gentleman is our keynote speaker from the early show, Harry Smith. It's a pleasure to for you to join us here.
It's my thrill and my honor, honestly, because I think television is still a really, really important way for people to get their news, and I think that television tells a lot of very important stories best. So I think it's a great opportunity to celebrate that today.
And we all know you from the early show on CBS, but your start was in Denver, Colorado, was it?
Dinosaurs still roam the earth. Back then, it was a long, long time ago. I started in radio out there and then worked my way from radio to public TV to the CBS affiliate, and most of the last 20 years or so I've worked for CBS News.
Well, Jackie, Harry joins a proud list of people who've become our keynote speakers over the years.
He does. We're very particular with the keynotes of who's out here to talk to the Long Island community, but we're happy to say this year that not only is Harry distinguished in what he does, everyone who's anyone will tell you he's a great guy, and that's what's really important. Honoring truth tellers is one of the most important things you could be doing right now. As no less an authority than Will Rogers once observed, all I know is just what I read in the newspapers. Of course, if Will was around today, he would have access to radio and television broadcasts, blogs and search engines, and YouTube postings. But do you honestly believe he would be any closer to finding the truth? Not according to poet Adrian Rich, who said, "The truth of the new is never on the news. False history gets written every day." False history. does no one any good, now does it? Businesses can't succeed, and they can't be run efficiently without the truth of what's happening in this community. That's why we need credible news coverage to find the truth for us. And you can't make the right decision unless you have all the information you need to make a decision. It's all pretty simple. That's why we need a variety of news coverage, the kind of news coverage that explores the issues, tells us stories from all sides, and not just one side, without proper context and without proper perspective. Local news is changing dramatically. It used to be that the best way to talk back to the news was to turn it off or to cancel your subscription. Not anymore. That's just not good enough. In today's environment, when television loses ratings or newspapers lose circulation, they think that's because you want your news in a different format, delivered to your desktop or to your cell phone. In today's media environment, if you don't like the content, or if you don't believe in the information you're getting, you need to complain about it first, then turn it off or cancel it. That's why the Fair Media Council has been fielding your complaints, to make sure your opinions get back to the media. And if you're advertising in the media, understand that advertising your products and services is no longer just about targeting a demographic. In the new millennium, it's about supporting a media outlet's behavior, good, bad, or indifferent. Ask yourself if your advertising dollars are supporting news products that bring you information you can use and believe in. If the answer is no, it's time for a wake-up call. You know you're living in challenging times. And we're struggling with very serious issues here. We've got taxes no one can afford to pay. We've got housing no one can afford to buy. Young people are leaving to find an easier life elsewhere, and older folks are being forced to leave. In the middle of it all, the debate continues of how to solve these and other problems. With Long Island at a crossroads, the local news plays a crucial role in defining the future for all of us. We need to know the problems. We need to explore the alternatives. We need input and debate from the public and the leaders on how to shape tomorrow. And that is why we are here today to honor the best local journalism of the last year, and why the Fair Media Council has been fighting for over 20 years to make sure that you and I have access to the best local news in the nation. Am I getting a little carried away? Maybe. But our most eloquent founding father, Thomas Jefferson, would probably not discourage me a bit. This is from Jefferson. Were it left to me to decide whether we should have a government without newspapers or newspapers without a government, I should not hesitate a moment to prefer the latter. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for supporting our efforts, and thank you for believing in the need for truth. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you our keynoter today. Harry Smith has been in the news business for more than 25 years. Today, his reports may be found on television, radio, and the internet. He's been an anchor of CBS News' The Early Show since October 2002. He hosts a daily radio news and analysis feature called Just a Minute on the CBS News radio network. He also serves as substitute anchor and occasional correspondent for CBS News Sunday Morning, and has anchored and contributed to CBS News documentaries and to 48 Hours. Throughout the years, Harry has interviewed presidents, statesmen, celebrities, and sports legends. He's grown accustomed to chaos, having covered wars, weather disasters, and national conventions. Most recently, he's faced the tragic aftermath down at Virginia Tech. He's waxed poetic about the life and times of singer Don Ho. He's pondered how the first casualty of war is so often the truth, and he's wondered how the T-Rex and the chicken could be blood relatives. Harry Smith has, on at least one occasion, greatly annoyed White House spokesman Tony Snow. Conversely, we hear Condoleezza Rice is one of Harry's biggest fans. This is Harry Smith's second tour of duty at CBS. The first started in 1986 and lasted 13 years. In between stints with CBS, Harry Smith proved to be one of the most popular hosts of A&E's biography series. Prior to his television career, Harry worked in radio, first in Denver, then Cincinnati. Harry Smith was born in Lansing, Illinois, and currently resides in New York with his wife and their 2 sons. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Harry Smith. You're all set here?
Wow, Jackie, I think you just delivered the keynote address. So what Jackie said, I say ditto. And here's my question, right? I'm sitting up there with ice water and a cup of coffee. Hang on. Rosanna's got the Bellini. What's the deal with that? I'm Italian, okay. Truth be told, I am really honored to be here today because we have some of the most amazing news people in the country here in our New York City market. I feel so honored to be on the dais with all of the folks who were mentioned before, on either side of the Red Sea, as it turns out. Really good anchors, really credible anchors, really, really good reporters. The older I get, the subject that Jackie was talking about, truth, becomes more and more valuable to me and more important to me, especially in this internet age when so many people get their news and information online. I was at a journalism school at the University of Miami about a month or so ago, talking to the journalism students down there, and I asked for a show of hands. Who reads papers? Who watches television? Where do you get your news from? So much of the information that's on the internet is someone's opinion about an opinion. It's not about reporting. And what we celebrate today is really reporting, and really, really good reporting. This free society that we all cherish and celebrate so much, it's incumbent upon all of us to know what the heck is going on. And without these great anchors, these credible anchors, and without these great reporters, we're in the dark and we're clueless. And we don't have the opportunity to participate as we would want to. I'm an old news guy, and I'm the luckiest guy on the planet because I get to do a morning television show, and the first question most people ask me is, what time do you get up in the morning? What time do you get up in the morning? You get up at 2:30? Oh, that's so great. What do you do? The news editor of the Imus in the Morning show. So you're looking for work. It's amazing how she just spoke up so quickly. That whole networking thing you were talking about, that's good. I used to get up that early. When I first did I think it was called CBS This Morning back in the late 80s, I used to get up at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning because back then there really wasn't an internet. And it was incumbent upon you to read papers. So I would come in at that hour of the day and have a stack of papers this big, and I'd fall asleep in about the B section of the Wall Street Journal about 4:45. Someone would wake me and I would get on the air. Now I sleep in till 4:30 because thanks to the internet and thanks to the fact that you can get on the Los Angeles Times website or the New York Times website or the Nassau Daily, whatever, you can see the news all over the world and read about the news 24/7. Somehow in all of our businesses we have to figure out how in the news business to balance what people need to know with what people want to know. They want to know about Liberace, but they need to know about what's going on in the State House, and they need to know about what's going on in our federal government. And they really need to know what's going on in Baghdad and Somalia and a lot of other places that are not particularly popular. I look around this room here. Some of these reporters have been to some of those places, and I really take my hat off to the local news departments who decide to spend the money to hire the right reporters, to take the risk of sending them to places to tell stories that are not particularly popular because it's so much easier to put the puppy on your lap than it is to go to the places and tell the real news. And I think that deserves a round of applause. Every time you see real reporters in real places, perhaps even risking their lives to tell the story, buy some more ads. Call the local news director and say, way to go. Call the general manager and say, you know what? That may not make the needle peak. That may not be the puppy in the lap. But I swear to God, that's what's going to make us a better society and a better country. I am so happy to be here today to have this opportunity to help celebrate the greatness in local news coverage. And thank you so much for inviting me.